Hi everyone, welcome to English Path. My name is Nushin and today's lesson is about tag questions. Tag questions are mostly used to get confirmation on things you're not so sure about. Like, you're not sure about the date, so you ask someone, it's the 10th today, isn't it? And they will confirm it. They will say, yeah, it is. Tag questions can also be used to make very polite requests. For example, you and your friend are doing homework together. Your pen suddenly runs out of ink and you want to ask your friend if she or he has an extra pen. You can say, you don't have an extra pen, do you? And as you can see, tag questions are not in the regular question format. Regular questions are like, do you have an extra pen? You use your auxiliary before the subject. How to make tag questions? The first step is to write a statement like, Sean is from Ireland. The second step is to use a comma after your statement. Step number 3 is to look at the verb in your statement. Do you see an auxiliary? Or is it just the main verb? If you see an auxiliary in the statement, use the same auxiliary in the tag, but reverse it. Let's see what that means. Sean is from Ireland. Is an auxiliary. It is a helping verb. If you don't know what auxiliaries are, you can watch this video. So we see the auxiliary, we reverse it. If the auxiliary is positive, you'll use a negative tag. If it is negative, you'll use a positive tag. So the auxiliary here is negative, like Sean can't speak German. So I will use a positive auxiliary in my tag. Sean will move to Germany, won't. It was a positive auxiliary. The auxiliary in the tag is negative. Now, if you only see a main verb, consider the tense and use the correct form of do in that tense. Like, Sean wants to learn German. You don't see an auxiliary. There's no helping verb. Sean wants. It's in the simple present tense. You will use the correct form of do in that tense. The correct forms of do in the simple present tense are do and does. For Sean, we would use does. And remember, we have to reverse it, doesn't. Sean quit his job in Ireland. Okay, there's no auxiliary. It's in the simple past tense. The correct form of do in the simple past tense is did. The verb is positive, so we reverse the auxiliary and we use didn't. Step number 4 is to find the subject in the statement and use the subject pronoun form of it at the end of the tag. And finally, we will finish off with a question mark. Sean is from Ireland, isn't he? The subject is Sean, and the subject pronoun form of Sean is he. So, Sean is from Ireland, isn't he? Sean can't speak German, can he? Sean will move to Germany, won't he? Sean wants to learn German, doesn't he? Sean quit his job in Ireland, didn't he? So let's review the steps one more time. You write a statement, you use a comma after your statement, then you look at the verb inside your statement. If you see an auxiliary, you will use the same auxiliary in your tag, except you will reverse it, which means if you have a positive auxiliary, your auxiliary in your tag will be negative, and vice versa. If your auxiliary is negative, your auxiliary in your tag will be positive, just like this one. Then you will find the subject in your statement, which is shown in this example, and then you will use the subject pronoun form of it at the end of your tag. And finally, it's a question, right? You'll finish off with a question mark. If you see the verb have inside your statement, you need to be extra cautious because it can be a little bit tricky. Like, Margot has been busy. Here, has is our auxiliary, right? Because it is the present perfect tense. So we will use hasn't inside our tag. Hasn't she? But she has a Toyota. Here, has is a main verb, which means owning something. So it is the simple present tense and we have to use the correct form of do. She has a Toyota, doesn't she? She had a Honda before. Again, it's talking about possession. It's about owning something. It's a main verb. So we have to use the correct form of do. And our verb is in the simple past tense, so we have to say, didn't she? She had a Honda before, didn't she? She had worked for Microsoft before. Okay, here our sentence is in the past perfect tense. So had is an auxiliary. It's a helping verb because in the past perfect tense, the formula is had plus past participle. So you use the same auxiliary and reverse it in your tag. She had worked for Microsoft before, hadn't she? By the way, if you feel like you haven't quite mastered the tenses in English, you can watch this playlist that I'm also linking in the description box, which contains lessons on all tenses in English. As I mentioned in the beginning of this lesson, tag questions are mostly used for confirmation and have a falling intonation, like, you're subscribed to my channel, aren't you? I don't say aren't you, aren't you? But sometimes you can use tag questions to ask for information, like you really don't know something and you want answers. Like, you liked this video, didn't you? You see, I'm filming this video right now and I haven't posted it yet, so I really don't know if you've liked it. But if you haven't, please do. Also, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. So I was asking for information and I used rising intonation. Let's review it one more time. You're subscribed to my channel, aren't you? You liked this video, didn't you? So falling intonation is like, Rising intonation is like, If the subject of your statement is the pronoun I and your verb is positive, in the tag you have to use aren't I. Like, I'm bothering you, aren't I? You can't use amn't I. But if the verb is negative, your tag will be am I. Like, I'm not bothering you, am I? And remember, it is recommended to contract your tags when they're negative. Like, she knows who she's talking to, doesn't she? It's not common to say she knows who she's talking to, does she not? And finally, if the statement contains the modal auxiliary ought to, your tag has to contain should or shouldn't. For example, she ought to be informed, shouldn't she? They ought not to break the rules, should they? So as you can see, ought to cannot be used inside the tag. And that's it for today, guys. This video was instructive, wasn't it? If it was, please make sure to hit the like button. Also, if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel to get updated whenever I post new lessons, because I do them weekly, every Saturday, and I post shorts every single day. Take care, guys. See ya.